Guys, hey, welcome to the Weekend Update. We're here. We've got the whole team ready to have some fun. All right, Sean, why don't you tell us what we're going to do today?
Today, we're going to do Wake Hot Takes. And here's how it's going to work. We're going to present a hot take and convince the other three that they need to get on board. So here's my hot take. Chips and salsa should be served at every restaurant all times of the day.
All times?
As an appetizer.
Every
all
restaurant?
times of the day.
No, if you go to an Italian
Hold on.
food...
Here's the reason why. I can anticipate a couple arguments. First argument is if it doesn't fit the genre of the food, you shouldn't have it. Second argument is I don't want chips and salsa at 8 a.m. for breakfast, and I would tell you, you need to try chips and salsa at 8 a.m. for breakfast. Here's what I've learned, is that I may not be hungry for chips and salsa at 8 a.m., but once I eat that first chip and salsa, I'm like, you know what? Turns out I was hungry for chips and salsa at 8 a.m. So that solves that argument. Chips and salsa are good at all times. Okay. All right. The benefit
Did you just solve your own argument?
I went number two.
The benefit.
It's not how that works.
The benefit of the chips and salsa, when you go to a Mexican restaurant and you show up and you sit down, and before you even have to look at the menu and decide, you already have hot chips with fresh salsa right there. I mean, that's heaven. They're optional. No one's forcing you to eat
genre.
Quick question. Have you thought about the fact that I feel like that for anybody who has chips and salsa, it almost takes away from the rest of the meal because you get so full on chips and salsa.
You do feel worse after.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you a follow-up. Has that kept you from ever not eating chips and salsa at a Mexican restaurant? Do you not eat the chips and salsa because you go, I don't want to get too full for my meal?
It has limited me how much I would eat.
If I show up to Olive Garden, I want chips and salsa instead of breadstick.
In addition to whatever else they do, every restaurant needs to also have chips and salsa available.
So I go to IHOP.
It ruins other restaurants.
And I'm at IHOP about to eat a stack of pancakes.
Heck yeah.
But let me just,
That sounds
down
delicious.
on some chips and salsa.
No.
Yes.
Before I have syrup.
The genre
and
does
pancakes.
feel...
It's optional. Nobody's forcing you to eat the chips and salsa.
We both.
I appreciated that.
That every
good fight.
restaurant should offer chips and salsa at every meal.
Yes.
3, 2, 1.
You guys are wrong.
That's tough, Sean.
Hey,
That's
comment
tough.
below if you think I'm right.
You know what? I think I'm gonna go.
Great.
Here's my hot take. In 2020, you can be a devoted fan of both A&M and UT.
Oh, this is bad.
No, explain.
Explain.
Right there,
That
right
is
there.
dumb.
Explain.
Look, here's the deal, and I know that I'm sitting next to two Aggies, but here's my argument.
Hey,
One, as a guy who grew up in Austin and had family members at A&M, I felt the dual allegiance my entire life, but it was much harder to pick a side then because they were still competing against each
They were
other.
same
They were
conference.
still in the same conference, and it was one of the best rivalries, if not the best rivalry in college football and in sports. And so, but now they're, like you just said, not in the same conference. They don't even play each other. And so I feel like that you can have a good allegiance to both UT and A&M. That's
Wrong.
my hot take.
Wrong.
Okay.
Why is that
It's simple.
wrong?
It's
Did you
wrong.
go to A&M, Jacob?
I didn't go to A&M.
Did you go to Texas?
Yeah.
I didn't go to UT.
Oh,
there you go.
But I
That's how you
earlier-
can do
He's
it.
a Walmart fan.
listen.
Let me
No,
ask you a question,
listen.
Jacob. Have you ever heard of the phrase house divided?
Okay, hold on. You gotta tell me that you have to go to the school to be a fan of it?
That's not what I'm saying.
You know what?
certainly help.
I'm not
Thank
saying
you.
that. I'm not saying you have to be a fan of that school. You have to be an attendee of the school to be a fan of it. I like Oklahoma. I'm sorry, Ryan. I
What?
just always kind of have.
Who likes
You
Oklahoma?
like Oklahoma?
What?
Why?
Yeah, I do.
That's a bigger
what
hot
reason?
take.
That's not a bigger hot
It
take.
It is a big.
I agree that you don't have to have gone to the school to be a fan of it.
Yes.
Just like you don't have to have grown up in the city of the sports team that you like to be a fan of it.
But I did
However-
grow up in the city of the sports team.
You grew up in
And
College
then-
Station?
No, I grew up in Austin.
Oh, so you're a
And
UT
so
fan.
I grew up in Austin, but then I had family
Get it,
at
get it.
A&M, so they were always cheering for A&M, but we were also in Austin.
But did you ever
And-
cheer for UT when you lived in Austin?
Oh,
It
you
sounds
bet.
pretty
in
clear
the,
like your family-
Whenever 2005, the championship
Who
game?
did you cheer
Oh,
for?
so wait. Sorry, hold on. You cheered for UT when they went to the national championship. Yeah, that
The
makes
whole
sense.
city of Austin would. Are you kidding me?
And Let me ask you a question. When A&M and
fans.
Texas played each other, who did you cheer for?
I felt the tension of the dual
I know,
allegiance.
but more than, like, there had to have been a 51-49%. I'd rather see this team win.
The team that won.
Whenever we were
Who was it?
kids, I pulled for A&M.
Wow, I didn't actually expect that answer. But I feel like that's probably the team that you root for a little bit more than.
I'm not
still-
trying to sports explain anyone. So there's 4 conferences in college football?
There's much more than
There's
4.
much more.
Very many more.
Yeah. I was just thinking like Northeast, West, South.
It's not even how it works.
Okay.
It's not even, none of them are called the North Conference, the South Conference, the West Conference, or the East Conference.
So I think I do hear Jacob on, hey, they don't ever play each other. Could we say that's like saying I like the Spurs and I like the Texas Rangers? Those are 2 different cities, 2 different
That's not
sports.
the same thing. It's
Different
different
sports.
They
I
never
know.
play each other. They will never play each other, those teams. Literally.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. And so he's saying
No, it's
A&M
not
and
the
you
same.
2 will never play each other.
They will play
They
each
will.
other.
They
When?
could. They could play in a bowl
When?
game.
In the
They
March,
could
they
play
could
in
play a bowl
March
game, March Madness.
They could play
I
in
guarantee you, in
baseball.
the next
They could
10
play
years,
in a
they
bunch
will
of
play
different
each other
sports.
on a regular
Because
basis.
he's just saying
Here's what I would say.
rivalry.
I think you have to have a team that you would pick every single time they face each other. I went to Oklahoma State. I'm a big fan of Oklahoma State. So when Oklahoma State plays Texas in anything, I always root for Oklahoma State. Even though if Texas is playing any other team, I can root for Texas. But I know that when those 2 teams play each other, Oklahoma State.
Let me tell you something that happened at the Hill House 2 weeks ago.
Yes. Oh, I'm
I
curious.
was reading a book with my 1.5-year-old daughter, and it was it would ask a few questions and say, what animal am I? And, we cover all sorts of animals. And we get to a page, and the answer is a longhorn. And we skip that page. and so that is coming from an A&M fan. And
I honestly, that's the best answer.
and so that is Exhibit A of why you cannot be a fan of both.
So I know that Sean's gonna disagree with me. But wow,
That is a true story.
no partiality, huh?
I'm ready to vote.
But
I'm ready to vote.
if Otis,
Hey,
We're voting.
I
The
think
people
we're
have
voting.
spoken.
in 3, 2, 1.
Hey!
That
Sold me.
still didn't
Ruby.
pass.
So
Thanks,
frustrated.
Oh, it's a tie.
50-50.
Hey, you got the one who thought there were 4 sports conferences. So
Yeah, yeah.
Congrats.
I know. Not my biggest win, I'll be honest, but it's okay.